Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Friday, September 2nd. I'm Jordy from Barstool. With me, as always, we've got Dukes on the mic. And ladies and gentlemen, the PLL playoffs are here. We've got three quarterfinal matchups coming your way on Saturday. And this is just a big old, really, it's been a big old week for the sport. So Dukes, I mean, how are you feeling right now heading into Boston?
Yeah, Labor Day weekend. Ship it up to Boston. Feel like it's this. Have they ever hosted a playoffs in Boston before? I think this might be the first time. It's a regular staple to go up to Gillette for a game. So going back there, I think the first weekend ever was at Gillette. Now opening playoffs are there. So yeah, it should be a good weekend. All the games on ESPN Plus. I hope you guys check them out. It's like 12, 3, and 5 or something. So get some sun, enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Maybe bring your phone to the beach, watch it at the beach. It's 2022, guys. Now you can watch it on your phone at the beach. You can pretty much watch games wherever you want, whenever you want. Make sure you tune in. Should be a good one.
And here's the thing, like we've mentioned this before on the podcast. So again, like it is week 1 of college football, which another thing that we've mentioned on the podcast. It is a little bit tricky. Like you would like if the playoffs weren't scheduled on this weekend when there's going to be so much college football being played because football is king. But like if you're out at the bar and you're enjoying college football, like everyone's watching college football and you're at a bar that has, like 7 different TVs going, multiple TVs being taken up by the same game, don't be afraid to be the guy who goes up to the bartender and is like, hey, like, well, actually, it's going to be a little bit tough with ESPN Plus, but maybe they probably have ESPN Plus
It's
account, or
2022.
they might have a Chromecast. Like you might be able to just stream it to their TV, but don't be afraid to be the guy to ask to find out a way to get it on at the bar because you're going to be really into it. And then because you're really into it, the people around you are going to at least get semi into it and everyone's going to have a good time. And there's going to be 6 other TVs that they can watch college football on. So if you are at the bar, don't be the weirdo who's just like standing off in the corner, streaming it on your phone. Like really get after the bartenders to throw it up on one of the screens.
Look, yeah, and I'm a huge college football fan. We're recording this Thursday night, so I was just watching West Virginia Pitt, backyard brawl. Love this shit. Again, it's week 1 college football. You're not looking at like that good of games. We're not going to be competing with Notre Dame, Ohio State. You can watch that one later. You can just tell them like, hey, I don't really want to watch Georgia State versus South Carolina State right now. Can we please turn on the PLL for like a couple seconds, a couple minutes, maybe a half, get a half on the phone, half on the TV. You can maybe do a little litigation, arbitration, whatever it's called, little mediation.
Yeah, just like, hey, like the first Spencer Rattler interception, can we please put lacrosse on after that? Because then we know exactly how that game's going to go afterwards.
Yeah, bet. Yeah, we're gambling people. Just do that. It'll be like if Spencer Rattler throws over 1.5 picks, we have to turn on lacrosse. And if he does, the bar has no choice but to put on lacrosse. But
oh yeah,
I'm excited.
You're putting on that Archers Redwoods game right away if we're only setting it at 1.5 picks. But yeah, so we've got 12, 2:30 and 5:10 all on ESPN Plus. 3 big games this weekend on Saturday. But before we get to these games, Dukes, it has been a rather large week for the sport of lacrosse. A couple big things, a couple monumental things have happened this past week. Let's start off with the general release of Fate of a Sport on ESPN Plus. Now, for all of us laymen's out there, for all of us normies out there, us just regular run-of-the-mill people, we had to wait until this week to watch Fate of a Sport streaming on ESPN Plus. Dukes, you've watched this weeks ago, entertaining clients.
Yeah, I mean, just a guy like me in times like this. I always go to film festivals. This is just what I do. It's just what every 24-year-old lacrosse podcaster does, is just go to film festivals. So yeah, I saw it weeks ago, but I watched it again. What did you think about it?
Let me tell you, this is one where, like, when I first knew like that this movie was coming out, I'll admit I was a little skeptical of just like the Paul Rabel dick suck fest that it could have turned
Yeah.
out to be. I left this film with like just such an outrageous amount of respect for Paul and Mike. And like
Oh, I know.
obviously like everybody else who's like involved with like setting up the league. But
No,
like
no, no, no. Just give the Ravens the respect. They
but
get the most
yeah,
shit. Yeah, like they get the most shit most of the time. Give them the respect. I mean, exactly what you said. I thought like it was a little like there's a meme going on right now, like all the dick riding crazy. Like I kind of thought that like the dick riding was going to be crazy for the Ravens in this, and I was just like, again, I saw it on Twitter where you're like, how like it's like you're really going to make a movie about yourself, you know? And I think that I think this is a fair thing, but when you saw like the Chris Hogan undrafted doc come out a year ago, it was like, guys, come on, like undraft. Are we seriously going to pretend like the whole Chris Hogan thing isn't a little bit of a publicity stunt? Like, I don't hate the publicity stunt, but it's a publicity stunt, and nobody was going to watch that fucking documentary. So when this one came out, all the skepticism was, you know, I think valid.
yeah,
So
and I just thought like, and I mean, credit to Paul and like his like team and like Brett and all those guys
yeah,
who were able to like look ahead and be like, hey, like let's film everything. And then that way, like we'll just have all this footage because like the amount of access that you get to all the shit that it took to put this league together is just like insane. I don't know, and like I said this in the blog. I saw a few other people say this. Like I'm sure it's like a pretty common thought once people are done watching it, but like just one of those things where like, yeah, obviously we're lacrosse fans, so we're gonna love it. Like we're gonna love like that whole inside look at this league that now we love getting started up. But it was so well done and like such like a great story, something that you don't need to be a lacrosse fan to watch this and like to see like Paul. Like there's a one scene where he's just like laying on his floor like calling every single pro lacrosse player, and like so just hours and hours and hours a
yeah.
day just calling these guys. And then on the flip side of that, like he still has to like go out and train and like keep his body right to play as one of the best players in the world. Like the whole like starting up a league is ridiculous. Being one of the best players in your sport in the world is ridiculous. The fact that like one person did both of those things at the same time, yeah, just crazy. So I was a big fan of Fate of the Sport. Watched it a couple times at this point.
Look, and also just like the fact, like I thought it was like just some parts that like I wanted to keep like before everyone watched it was like some parts that stuck out to me was when John Crawley called out Paul in the locker room and was like, "I don't trust you right now. Like you're not doing your job." I thought that was crazy because I was like, again, like you're that's like imagine talking to the commissioner of your sport, the person that like pays your checks, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't trust you at all." Like crazy to think. I mean, you kind of saw like the Atlas breakup happening in real time. I think it gave more clarity with that whole situation. Um, and then I thought the part in the bubble when they just went at like the whip snakes and you know the like that whole thing about like you know the patches and uh like they're talking shit about the Rabels and like Paul and Mike and like they had to talk to Earhart. I thought that was a pretty cool thing that like you know, I know there was probably some issues in the bubble with that whole thing because that was definitely like a polarizing issue. But yeah, I kind of thought that was two things that stuck out to me, and then just how raw and like real it was, like especially when Paul was like you could see Paul was hurting with like the whole divorce thing. So yeah, like there was just some like real authentic, real moments, and like nobody really gets. Like I don't understand it. I mean I kind of see with Barstool like seeing like Big Cat and Dave like when you have a camera in front of you like 24/7, like I'm just like, I don't know how these people do it. The fact that Paul is just like allowed this accessibility, like bravo to him. Like that's like tough to always have a camera in your face. Like you have to be real 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it was definitely just, you know, a really great watch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
highly recommend it.
and again, like the whole like going through all that shit in the bubble. It's like the fact that not only does he have to figure out a way to like navigate all that shit, but then also play. Um, so I mean, it's not necessarily like a hey, there's an excuse for how bad he was in the
Yeah,
bubble, but it's like you can
exactly.
kind of see
Uh,
like all the shit on his plate probably wasn't going to be a great lacrosse player those 2 weeks.
I was one of the people that was like Rabel's washed. I was very vocal about it. Like Rabel's washed, Rabel's washed, Rabel's washed. After seeing everything through the documentary, I just like wanted to go. I'm like, hey, I doubt you've ever heard anything I've ever said, but like, I take it all back. Like, my bad. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of get why maybe you weren't like always. I also just love like the whole like chirping thing. Like, I love the entire thing. I seriously do think that like any sports fan would like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
it's on
mean,
ESPN Plus.
and again, like the Rabel, they do get shit on all the time, but it's mostly because they put themselves out there. So like you put
Oh,
yourself
for
out there, like
sure.
you're gonna get shit on. So it's like, that's just kind of like comes with it. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's been a while. Like lacrosse fans just making like a little bit of a joke. I think like after everyone watches this video or this documentary, like it's impossible to not leave there being like, dude, like these guys. I mean,
Sacrifice a lot.
they sacrifice a lot, and like realistically speaking, like when the title came out, I thought it was a little dramatic. I, I think that they're right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if
I mean, dude,
dude,
the
if they
part, the
didn't
part,
start the PLL and if like this never happened, nobody is watching professional lacrosse this summer.
Jordy, I know for a fact, actually, like I know for a fact that if the PLL did not start, that I wouldn't have like before even Barstool or anything. Like I started out doing lacrosse stuff because of the PLL league. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I want to jump on this. I like college lacrosse, but like now their pro league, I think is going to like take off. Like if the PLL doesn't start, I'm not on this podcast right now. It's kind of like crazy to think about because you're just like, what? Like I'm going to cover college lacrosse. Like that's inside lacrosse's job. Like I don't really want to make a career out of that. But like really, just like it was college lacrosse and like I think the PLL is just like open up lanes for like careers. I don't know. It's just crazy to think about. And also, I love the part where the MLL, the PLL was like, "Oh, we'll buy you for 35 million," and they're like, "No," and they're like, "We just want them for $1 million." Like chump change. Also,
uh,
the what was the I saw Dan tweet this, but someone was like, Paul was like a narcissist. I'm not gonna watch a narcissist talk about a narcissist. Right? Dan was like, yeah, I mean, if he's a narcissist, he would just take the $6 million that he could have gotten, which is just so true. Like, you don't get how much money he could really like could have made it really at, like he's probably still could if he wanted to bail out on it.
yeah. Well, I feel like at this point he kind of realizes they've
Oh
got
no,
to
he's balls deep. He's
yeah.
balls
Well,
deep.
well, also it's like, hey, like we got a pretty good thing going at this point. Like we could probably keep riding this, and like at some point, and hopefully in like a few years, we're gonna look back and be like, oh, dude, like $6 million was chump change.
Oh yeah, I think that I was trying to think, especially when you talk about like advertisers, and we're making fun of like the Cash App, championship trophy, the Cash App championship trophy bracket, like all that shit. Like these are paying bills. Like I can't even imagine.
Oh yeah, oh
I
yeah,
was like, this is what like 2020. They're making like 6 million or whatever. Like I was like, how much could they get like sell out for now if they wanted to? I was trying to do the math, and I was like, I really don't know. Like the ESPN deals, everything. I was like, whew, sheesh. Ravens,
yeah.
let me get in on that. It's too
Well,
late for an investor. I'm an investor.
we could probably find a way to get you some equity. But yeah, so Fate of a Sport, really enjoyable. That's pretty much the bottom line of it. Yeah, great to see that one finally. Dukes, even though you got a chance to see it weeks ago because you're just a big film fest guy. Another big piece of news this week. Jared Bernhardt. Now, you guys may have heard of him. You may have not. I believe that he played a little bit of college lacrosse at where was it? University of Maryland.
Merrimack.
Okay,
University of
yeah,
Merrimack.
yeah. So he won a championship with Maryland. No, so Jared Bernhardt, obviously everyone listening right now knows, makes the Detroit Lions. No, not the Detroit Lions. He scored a touchdown against the Detroit Lions. Makes the Atlanta Falcons 53-man roster. Beats out a couple of drafted receivers that were ahead of him on the depth chart. He had a great preseason with the Falcons, and now he makes the 53-man. Listen, I'll tell you what. Right now I don't know what I want him to say for his Sunday Night Football intro. That's like the biggest question on my mind right now
Great
is
point.
does Jared Bernhardt go with the Jared Bernhardt Maryland lacrosse? Does he give a shout out to Ferris State? I mean, he's won a national championship with both places. So
Fuck
like
this.
both places, like they're his guys. Like you win a championship, like those are
Jordy.
your guys for life. So it could be Ferris State, it could be Maryland.
Look, we were talking 2 weeks ago about like the whole like, like I get why Pat Spencer, like I was saying it's objectively fucking hilarious that like the two best athletes that we've had in our sport, like 2'6'2" guys that can move like point guard, are just like fucking phenomenal athletes. They're just like, nah, we're gonna go play different sports. Like the one thing that Jared Bernhardt owes to lacrosse fans is for when he's on Sunday Night Football and he's in the Falcons starting lineup, is he looks directly in the camera and says University of Maryland lacrosse. And then everyone's like, wait, that guy played lacrosse in college? Like, what? And then that's how you get the sport out. If he says fucking Ferris State football, like everyone's gonna be like, oh wow, just another small school guy that just is a white coachable, gritty, like just the way they like to describe like very white receivers. And,
just
like,
a coach's son.
Yeah, coach's dream. And, like just like we don't need to hear that about Ferris State. Respect to Ferris State. Respect. 5 years to 1 year. Come on. You win the Heisman in lacrosse and you win a national championship because like it's too easy for me. You gotta say lacrosse.
It just depends on like how much he like loves lacrosse. I hope that he really loves lacrosse.
I wish we could get him on. I wish that he was like, one of these guys. He would never do shit, I don't think.
He wouldn't do shit when he was at Maryland. Like he's not gonna do shit now. Like he's got
even just like just like I almost want to get him. Like I'll be like, oh, I've been talking to this guy Dan Katz and PFT commenter, and they said that they want you to get you on part of my take, and then like sneak in some questions.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna say for Sunday Night Football?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, if he says University of Maryland lacrosse, that will send the lacrosse world into a frenzy. The clip will be going wild. I will say though, the one thing. Here's the thing, because I also made a bit of a career out of running the Chris Hogan joke into the ground. I also would like to ask the lacrosse community if we can all get behind Jared Bernhardt. We can all like want our guy to thrive in the NFL and like root hard for our guy. Do we have to do he played lacrosse ever? Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
No, Jordan, I have an argument to be made about this because I know exactly what you're like. I've thought about this thoroughly. Chris Hogan wasn't like a lacrosse player that was like on Maryland competing for national championships. Like you heard his name on Memorial Day weekend for 5 years in a row. You knew Jared Bernhardt from when he was a freshman. Any casual lacrosse fan knew the name Bernhardt. So you kind of just know Bernhardt lacrosse. With Chris Hogan, at least in my opinion, I think this is a fact. He kind of got to the NFL and everyone was like, oh, who's this guy? And they're like, oh, by the way, he played Penn State lacrosse. It was like, oh, really? He did? Oh, I didn't know that. Like, then let me go deep dive into it a little bit more. It's not like Chris Hogan was like you heard that and you're like, oh, I know exactly who that is. I can tell you what number he was and then he played at Penn State. Even though Penn State's like a fantastic program, he was in no way the same class as like Bernhardt or anybody.
Well, yeah, no, I would never argue that.
No, but the thinking right there.
But because like Jared Bernhardt is lacrosse, he's a national champion. Yes. He's a two-time winner. So yeah, okay, like, that's fine. I just
it sucks. It sucks because we already beat the joke. And have you seen Big Daddy? And they have the surprise party, and it's like, oh, we ruined the good surprise on you. We kind of ruined the good joke on Chris Hogan. Yeah. Like we did it. We beat it to the ground. I mean, it's a shame, but like it's kind of impossible for like to be like lacrosse Twitter. Can we like not make the joke when I agree that it's beat into the ground, but Jared Bernhardt will forever be associated with lacrosse.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Also,
I make a new joke.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think though. Now looking at it now, like I don't think we need to find a new joke until there are people who stop getting caught up by Jared Bernhardt is the first ever lacrosse player to also play football. And then everyone's like, Chris Hogan, Jim Brown, Tom, and it's like,
good point, Jordy. That's one of the best points you've made in the past 2 months. Until those idiots are like gone from the world, the joke will forever be funny. Seriously, like I see it even on solo when he does it, and like and like the post game, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, there's no way that people are still like without a doubt every single time there's like one or two people that always bite, always bite. It's just like how fucking dumb are you guys? You like you
But
just
then you have
don't.
to wonder, is that part of the bit? Do these people know? But then they're now a new part of the bit where every time it's like, oh
No,
no, Jim
no,
Brown.
you could. Some of them are pretty obvious. You could kind of tell, I think, right away when they're like who, and it's like one question mark. But I think like the people where it's like Lax dad, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's like, is this seriously lacrosse account right now? Like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like, there's
Okay.
been Jim Brown, John Mackey, and then like they name everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like the people you can kind of sniff out where they're looking for attention. Think that they're just
I
cool kids on the inside jokes, and then there's just clear outsiders.
All right. Well, real quick, just before we move on to these to these playoff games, let's look at what the Falcons schedule looks like. So Falcons Saints, so they get their season started on at 1 o'clock on September 11th. So that should be right in line with the first semifinal game so first semifinal game for the PLL. So get yourself a couple screens. I don't really know if you're going to be able to watch that game if you're not in there. You can find, it's 2022. You can find a way to get any stream. At the very least, throw in Red Zone and you'll see JB1/JB83, I believe, getting a couple
Yeah,
touchdowns.
JD83.
I'll tell you what, I haven't drafted my fantasy team yet, and I'm definitely taking them in the first round, just out of principle.
Oh yeah, I think I got to
Yeah.
pick him up.
All right. So should we move over to the playoffs now?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we've got some quarterfinal playoff action coming our way Saturday, September 3rd, 3 games, all of them on ESPN Plus, and things get started at 12 p.m. Eastern. We've got the number 2 seed Chrome taking on the 2-8 Chaos. Yes. So they're 2-8. And right now, just looking at the fan votes for their postseason fan bracket breakdown, 2.8% of fans have the Chaos going on to win the PLL championship, the Cash App trophy. So is this going to be another year, Dukes, where the Chaos, they look at that low number, everyone doubting them. No one believes in the Chaos. They're always counting us out. Everyone, it's us against the world. 2.8%, 2.8%, you motherfuckers. Do they use that as their juice, as their fuel to take down the Chrome in this first quarterfinal matchup?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm taking the Chrome. I picked the Chrome to move on advance. I have them actually going to the championship game. Really like the Chrome. I was the first person to jump on their bandwagon. We'll never get enough credit for this. I'm shocked that nobody really talks about it besides me to you every single episode. It's fucking insane that nobody tweets at me like how right I was, because everybody said I was stupid about it. Like I remember people tweeting at me week 1 about the cannons, being like, you ready to take back what you said about the cannons? I know exactly. I have the fucking receipts, you fucking morons, but whatever. Here's the thing. In this game, the Chaos can use the 2.9% to their advantage because this is what we fell for it again. So I'm actually giving the Chaos the A-OK. Everyone is doubting you guys. Here's the thing that the Chaos have that nobody else in the league has. They have a goalie that I still don't think has played his best game this year. And and I think that if he puts on one of those games, and he's one of these guys that like when the stage gets bigger and the lights get brighter, he steps up in a big way. So I will never ever count out the Chaos or Blaze. I want to get that straight. If they make the championship game, I won't be shocked. What I've seen so far from the Chrome has impressed me more so than the Chaos. I think that, the NLL season going late into the PLL season hurt the Chaos for sure. So yeah, it's unfortunate for them, but I'm picking the Chrome. I think it's also just like ridiculous that Nick Turn was left off the Attackman of the Year award. He's got like the same stats as the guys that are in the running for it. So I don't know. He's probably my rookie of the year. And yeah, I really like the Chrome. I think they have like arguably the best defense. So yeah, I'll take them.
All right. Real quick, if you head over to the Barstool Sportsbook, we've got on the spread, Chrome are favored at -1.5. The juice on that is -127. Chaos at +1.5, and you can get that value at +100. On the money line, Chrome -200, Chaos +155. Over under here set at 23.5. Totally agree with what you said about Blaze. I mean, he's had a lot of games where he's put up a lot of saves and he's kept the Chaos at a respectable level. But he just hasn't had one of those games yet this year where he's truly stolen one for the Chaos. And there are quite a few where I think he played well enough that he should have stolen a game. It's just that his offense didn't back it up for him. And I think that this is like this is a part of the game where the Chaos thrive. Like they've made it abundantly clear to everybody that they don't give a single fuck about the regular season. Doesn't matter where they finish, just as long as they're in the playoffs. Give them a couple weeks to kind of reset with that bye week. All of a sudden you come out here, you get a big game out of Blaze. I think that this is just where Dane Smith goes. I think that's where the Chaos go in this one. Like if he's
so good,
if he's just like finding guys left and right, like they're gonna get finished. If they can add a couple two bond, like maybe they get a two bond from Costabile, like that's gonna be a game changer in this game. Listen, I'm a big fan of the Chrome. I wish that it didn't take me as long to be a believer of the Chrome. Dukes, credit to you for being on that.
Thanks,
right
Jordan.
away.
Yeah, no, thanks for that.
But there are a lot of again, it's weird because it's like
I know what you're saying.
I don't know. There are young guys on this team, and yes, like they are winners, but I feel like the Chaos like have that feeling where it's like, yeah, like we're 2-8, but like not only do we belong here, but we also like belong like kicking your ass.
They're the defending champions.
So they're the defending champions. I think they're gonna come in pissed if they can like get like again, these boys know how to play greasy. So like a lot of young guys on this Chrome team, if they can kind of push the limits there of legality, maybe get them off their game a little bit. I don't know. I think I've been burned by the Chaos too many times in these situations. So I'm rolling with the Chaos. I'm going money line.
Yeah, no, it's really going to be not too much of a rebuttal from me. The only thing that really made me pick the Chrome over the Chaos, and I was kind of thinking taking the Chaos like before I even knew who they're going to be matched up with officially, but kind of came down when the Chrome were downtrending in the year and they were on like the 3-game skid or something. And I was like, all right, like maybe they're just like after 4th of July, like they're hitting that, like they're regressing. And the Chaos needed to like start winning. And, you could say like we're only looking forward to the playoffs, but you don't want to be the 7th seed going to the playoffs. Like you're going to try to win some games, rattle off some wins, get the offensive flowing. But when it kind of seemed like the Chaos were going to steal them from the Chrome, Chrome just swallowed them up in the 4th quarter. And that's where it kind of came to me like, oh shit, like these guys have balls. I think they have the perfect mixture of young guys that have experience because they're like 5th, 6th years in with these COVID years that are coming in as rookies. And then you have the veterans like Mike Manley going alongside maybe the defensive player of the year and JT Giles-Harris, and then Scanoni, what he's done in Cage. And there's like a stat that he's saving 70% of the saves from the right side of the wing, which with the lefties, like with Josh Byrne, like it'll be interesting to see if Josh Byrne can start like getting things going and being the type of player that I think that he can consistently be. Yeah, it could be a long day potentially, and he could have a huge one. But yeah, that's why I'm going Chrome. I like Chrome. Probably play it safe, lay the juice at -200 on the money line. It's playoffs; these games will be close. But I like the under a lot, under 23.5.
Yeah, I would love to see a big game out of the Milkman. Would like to see like a nice signature game for him. So I don't know. We'll see. I think that this is going to be a really tight game. So at the very least, Chaos +1.5. But I'm just gonna once again just so that the Chaos Nation knows, I'm believing in you for this one. I don't think that you guys are a bad lacrosse team. I think you guys play like absolute dog dick in the regular season, but I don't think that you're a bad lacrosse team. So when the Chaos do end up winning this one, I need everybody listening right now to just have my back when the likes of like Ian McKay get on twitter.com and try to dunk on me for winning when I've been believing in them this whole time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Ian, I
openly.
know you're listening right now.
I'm gonna openly say it that if Ian starts like if the Chrome win and if they go on even a little bit of a run, I'm hopping on that bandwagon so fast and getting like shitting on you like right away. Like I'm just gonna like even though you're like you'll pick them every single game and I'll fade them every single game and I'll just be Liam like Ian and we'll just like yeah what an idiot.
Fucking tool. All right, the second game of the day. 2:30 p.m. or at the very least close to 2:30 depending on when that first game wraps up. We've got Archers and the Redwoods. So the Archers are coming in here. They're sitting at the 3 seed, Redwoods at 4 and 6. They are the 6 seed over on the Barstool Sportsbook. We've got Archers -1.5 on the spread, Redwoods +1.5. Money line, we've got Archers -175, Redwoods +135. Over under on this one set at 24.5. The first time that these two teams played, I want to say, let me check again. I want to say it was a 1-goal game. So week 5. So I mean, you got to kind of dig back a little bit here. This was before the All-Star break, so a lot's changed since then. Archers get Grant Ament back, but it was a 10-9 final for the Redwoods. I will say, like we've mentioned this before, like these are the biggest 3 games coming up for the Archers because maybe these are the 2 biggest games coming up for the Archers. Like if they don't make it to the championship with this group, then maybe there's a chance that they just never do and they have to kind of start restructuring a little bit. So there's a lot on the line here for the Redwoods. I feel that way. Redwoods have had a bit of an up and down season. But yeah, really it just, I'll be very interested to see just how the Archers kind of come out like right off. Like if they come out firing and they don't look back, then I'll have some faith in the Archers is going on a nice little playoff run. If they get into a grind with the Redwoods, like even if they squeak it out, I'm like, all right, they're going to lose to whoever they have to go up against next week.
Yeah, this is going to be I might put this as the best game of the weekend actually because I like the way the Redwoods are kind of trending. Garnes is really getting it going. I think Pinnell's looking like the best feeder in the league right now. He seems like his old self. And then you look at the Archers and like I think they're probably the most efficient team offensively and defensively. It seems like that last dance we always talk about, but this kind of seems like a bad match. The more that I'm looking at this game, the more I preview this game, the more they seem like it's a bad matchup. It seems like 2019, I think they met up in the quarterfinals. It was the game that Jackson Place had that scary injury and Schreiber got knocked out, and the Redwoods just out toughed the Archers and kind of like made them look a little bit like, dare I say, bitches.
Yeah, dude, Schreiber like got his shoulder dislocated, and but he still like snapped off like a perfect like half field dime.
That's why he's the GOAT. But yeah, I'm actually going to take the Redwoods here, Redwoods money line, which honestly, before really previewing this game today, I was leaning Archers. But look, I think TD is going to have a game and a half, and I'm not really fully convinced by the Archers face-off unit or their wings. So that's where kind of the deciding factor was. I've always liked the Redwoods defense. I think Jack Kelly is probably going to be the X factor. I say it again every time we talk about the Redwoods, but at one point in time, he was the best goal, like top 2 goalie in the world. So yeah, I just think that if he looks like his regular self, just give him a normal game, that the Redwoods could pull this one out. So I'm going Redwoods money line +135, and let's go over 24.5. Over.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go as far as to go with the Redwoods money line. I do like Redwoods +1.5 though. I mean, you look at the Archer season so far, it's been a perfectly fine season. It hasn't been anything crazy. They're 6-4, so they're kind of right around that 500 level. They do have like, they're tied for the best score differential, but like you look at like how they kind of did that throughout the season. like their big wins have come against the Cannons and the Chaos. Everything else has been pretty tight. They've lost to the Atlas a couple times. They lost to the Whip Snake. So like, when they're playing against the top teams in this league, they're not really like shit kicking anybody. So a lot of tight games. And then, you kind of combine that with the fact that the Redwoods they've been trending up, like not at like a crazy pace. Like I think that they're still, I don't like they've been up and down. There was one point where I thought that they were really going to turn the season around, just never really ended up working out that way. They are also going to be without Eddie Glazner for this game, which is going to be a big one because you kind of need just as many guys as you possibly can get to stop this offense. So I don't know. Everything here is kind of telling me a close game, but at the end of the day, the Archers will have just enough firepower to squeak out of this one. So I like Redwoods plus 1.5, but I am going Archers with the win.
Cool. Yeah, no, I think that this will be a good game. Looking forward to it.
Well, my pick for the best game of the weekend is the one that will be last. This is at 5:10 p.m. Eastern or whatever time it all gets done. We've got the Water Dogs taking on the Atlas. This is a rematch of a game that went into overtime just a few short weeks ago. Over on the Barstool Sportsbook, we've got Water Dogs at plus 1.5 on the spread. Atlas at minus 1.5 at minus 110 value. On the money line, we've got Atlas minus 155, Water Dogs at plus 120, and the over-under on this one set at 24.5. So the Atlas, they're also at 6-4, kind of dropped off a little bit towards the end of the season. Water Dogs, I mean, they started off 0-3, then they went on that great 5-game winning streak. They lost their last 2 games heading into the playoffs, but Water Dogs got themselves in a really good spot after the after the start of the season that they had. Dukes, how you feeling about this one?
I think that the Atlas kind of are a bad matchup for the Water Dogs. Just with the face-off X, just with Trevor and how much possessions he can give that Atlas offense. But at the same time, as good as I thought the Atlas were going to be this year, which is crazy to say. I'm like, they're really freaking good. They're really freaking talented. I just thought they were going to be like, I guess where the Whip Snakes are this year, just like unstoppable. And if you look at like their past in the 3 games that they've ever played, it's actually all games have been decided by 1 goal. So you had 16-15 on August 6th. Last year you had 10-9 Water Dogs, and then in the bubble you had 11-10 Atlas. So yeah. Should be a close one. So I think that's your decision on making this one the best game of the weekend. Is actually obviously history has shown that it's going to be a good game. But yeah, I think that honestly, if the Water Dogs get past the Atlas this weekend, I think that they are going to win it all. That's my take, and I think if they lose, the Whip Snakes win it all. I've said that. I think I might have said that on the last episode, but yeah, on my bracket, I picked Atlas, Whip Snakes to win it all. But on this, for gambling purposes, a little bit of juice. I'm going to take Water Dogs plus 120. I think they're overall the most talented team, and the Kieran McCardle's been the best attackman in the league. Dogs on top, Connor Kelly.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. In my bracket, I have the Water Dogs going to the championship game.
Really?
Yeah. So I think that, this game right here, like you kind of look, I don't know. I'm a huge Atlas guy. Really love watching this team play. But just the way that it's been going for them lately, I mean, they had that overtime loss to the Water Dogs. They had, I mean, just getting shellacked by the Whip Snakes. Like that's so bad for morale, where it's like you have your 2 biggest games of the year and you just get shit pumped on both of them. So, they got doubled up by the Whip Snakes. Then they had a tight one against the Chaos to end the regular season. You never really know, like, okay, like how much were they really focused on that game, and like how much was it the Chaos like really just fighting to stay alive in the playoff hunt. So like whatever, but like there just hasn't been a dominant Atlas performance in a while. And just kind of the way that Water Dogs team has really come along since the start of the season. Yeah, I mean, Kieran McCardle, absolute dog. Connor Kelly, dog. Michael Sowers, like, if he gets himself going and all of a sudden, like, I mean, he can have a quick little like 3-2 game just out of nowhere. I feel like I don't know. I don't want to say this because I don't want it to be like a narrative, but like I kind of often sometimes I forget about Sowers because like we do talk about like Kieran McCardle's had like such a big year, and then you have to remember, okay, like yeah, like you have like one of the best attackmen in the league this year with Kieran McCardle, and when everyone's like should be thinking, oh yeah, shit, like how are we going to handle Sowers?
I think that Sowers is probably at the top of scouting reports. I think that also McCardle's has been healthy. Like I feel like he hasn't really ran into any injury issues when Sowers has been out. But like Sowers has put up a respectful like 32 points. Like McCardle has 42. I think that McCardle just has proven in the past 2 years that Sowers and no Sowers, he can step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? Like if the all eyes are on him on the offense, he has no problem with that. And if defenses want to slide earlier to Sowers, that he can play off ball and find the open spaces.
Yeah. You might not like appreciate this similar, but like I this comparison, but like I would say it's similar. Like the Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin,
Yeah,
like Crosby's like always hurt, and like somehow Malkin's numbers are always better when Crosby's like out of the lineup because either he just like elevates his game because he knows that he has to, or I don't know, maybe it's just like he does better like as like the guy. But yeah, I would say that Kieran would be the Malkin in that situation. But again, yeah, I mean, face-offs probably going to play a big role in this one. So we'll see how Withers can hand up with Trevor, who's been having an unbelievable season. Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, just like I mean, if Dylan Ward, just another one of those guys where has the ability to just
champion.
yeah, I mean, he could go for the he could just go for the clean sweep. Did he play in the Sixes tournament?
I
Was
think no. Because
uh,
Dobson was the
yeah.
gold medal goalie, and then Jake was the backup. Jake
Okay.
is the morale guy, locker
All
room
right.
guy, blue guy.
I was gonna say because he could have gone for the NLL Sixes and PLL.
Oh, that would have been sick.
Just
Oh, that
the
sucks, Ward. That
the
sucks,
triple
Ward.
crown, the
I can
triple
see the
crown for the.
Canadians. I can see the chaos Canadian. Like once the chaos got knocked out, like the Canadians chirping Ward in the championship and be like, "Oh, Wardo, you could have gotten the three-peat." You know what I'm saying? One summer,
Yeah.
hey.
Fucking Swiss cheese, eh? But
Do you
yeah,
see
no. So
Billy?
I
I'll tell you that I'll have a funny story after for people that listen to Billy.
okay. But yeah, so I don't know. I like the Water Dogs in cage. I like, both offenses just kind of cancel each other out. Face off circle should be, nuts. Yeah, defensively, I don't know. I just think this is going to be a great game. So I don't really, I have the Water Dogs advancing.
Throw away, throw away
I
the stats, throw away the analytics. This is just two ball clubs looking to move on to the next round.
just getting after it.
Yeah.
But at the very least, again, Water Dogs plus 1.5, but I'm gonna go ahead with Water Dogs money line plus 120. Over under on this one. It's gonna be a great game. I might go under though.
Yeah. What's it at?
It's at
24
24 and a half.
I'm
Get
not
like a
I'll go under because I'm gonna go under on this.
I think yeah, like 12-11.
Yeah.
Could see that happening. But yeah, so there and again, I'm a big time, the biggest Atlas fan you'll ever meet besides Diggs. But I just like I like the way that the Water Dogs got themselves going.
Yeah. I mean, I've been dogs on top for a while. I like the dogs a lot. I'm excited for the games though. Should be fun to mix in with college football.
Yeah. All right. Well, so those are your 3 games for Saturday. Just I mean, it's a great week. It's last weekend of unofficial summer. So get out there, enjoy it, have yourselves a good time, but just make sure wherever you're at that you've got ESPN streaming from 12 to probably sometime around like 7 p.m. at night. Then you'll be able to watch Alabama just pump the ever living shit out of Utah State in one of the night games. Anything else before we close out?
Nope. I've been holding in a bathroom, so I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, let's let Dukes rip that piss. Make sure that you guys are subscribed on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you are following us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at the Crease Dive on both. And in the meantime, we'll be keeping it low to high until the day we die. We out.